Hey everybody, it's Topics, and if you're watching this, then it means that the 11.1 patch, including Season 2, is probably live. My intent was to drop this at the beginning of Season 2. You guys, I've been working on this probably for, I want to say 8 hours. It took me to put this together, 8 solid hours uninterrupted. Spent a lot of time on this guide. But yeah, here I am to present to you guys my Protection Warrior guide for The War Within 11.1. This guide was authored fully by me, so I don't want to have you guys think that I had any other contributors. It was fully me. So if there's anything, if there's any bad advice I give in here, definitely solely my fault. But if there's also a lot of good advice and good tips, solely my credit. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear. I did shout out a few people, maybe 1 or 2 people in here, and gave them credit where credit's due. But the intent of this video is that I just want to quickly go through everything included in this guide, so that if it's something that you feel like will be useful to you as a protection warrior, you can utilize it. My intent is that I would update this guide every patch, so I'll probably put some updates in here for the 0.5 patch, 0.7 patch, and then of course all the other seasons and tiers in the future for protection warriors, as long as I'm playing World of Warcraft. Obviously, if there's like tuning patches that really affect some of the stuff in this guide, I'll come in here and update it, even if it's not a major patch and it's just tuning. But yeah, let's get into what's on here. So as you can see, I made a table of contents here, so you can easily click around the guide to different areas. But I'm going to go back to the top and we'll just go over quickly what's in here. So let me back here. Anyway, where's the there they are. So we have gameplay, loop, and playstyle. Abilities, so core, offensive CDs, defensive CDs, utility, rotation and priority list. Talents, going over the hero tree, class tree, and spec tree. Optimizing your user interface, gear and stats, and then last but not least, Mythic plus additional tips. So now that you know what's all in here, I'm just going to give a brief walkthrough of everything. So in this section, I basically go through what makes up the core of a protection warrior and how the gameplay is, the gameplay loop. I explain that a little bit and some of the decisions you have to make. And then I get into our core abilities, rage builders and rage spenders. And in each one of these ability sections, I show the tool tips of all these abilities, but then I also add some of my own comments down here. And then we have our offensive CDs with the tooltips again, and then some of my own comments. And in these comments, you can find things like how you're supposed to actually use these and when they're best utilized, stuff like that. Because, sometimes the tooltip isn't very clear cut. That's something with WoW that the tooltips sometimes can be confusing. So it's very nice to have additional comments. We have defensive CDs, so a lot of the same, the tooltips and then explanations. We have utility, going through those. And then I did mention in here, like if you don't see something in one of these sections of abilities, like if you don't see it under core rotation, offensive CDs, or defensive CDs, it's either somewhere else in this guide, or I did not find it important enough or relevant enough to include in this guide. So just keep that in mind if you see something missing. Then I go over the rotation and priority list here. So we have our opener and then the rotation, which for Prot Warriors basically a priority list. And then I did link Wowhead here if you want like a more thorough explanation of different talent builds. Like let's say if you're raiding at a high mythic level and you're like changing your build for every boss, stuff like that. I would definitely refer to Wowhead. This is mostly a Mythic plus rotation. Next, I'm going to go over the hero tree. So, for Protection Warriors and Mythic Plus 11.1, Colossus right now, at least early in the season, is BIS. So I talk about why it's BIS. And then, I'm giving you a picture of what I'm going to be playing for the class tree here. And I give you a couple different choices that you could potentially make depending on the dungeon. And then I go over the spec tree, what I'm going to be playing. And then again, a couple choices that you might make depending on the dungeon, or maybe if the keys get a little bit higher. The choices I include in this guide definitely are all of the choices that I think would make sense. Of course, you can make other choices but I just don't think they'll be popular choices, so I didn't include them in this guide. And then we get the optimizing user interface section. I spent a lot of time on this, so I talk about what's important to track as a protection warrior on your UI, and then I kind of gave a little picture here of everything I'm tracking and where it is. And then I did the same thing for, weak auras and other add-ons, what I'm tracking and where they are on my screen. And then I included a link here, which is a link to my Wago page where you can download my LVUI profile and my weak auras. The link to this will also be in the description of this video, like it is on all of my videos. And then here's a link to the gear and stats page, the gear and stats section. So I talk about the stat priority for protection warriors in 11.1, and I also talk about like why the stat priority is the way it is. And then we get into gear. There's a little typo here. Let me fix this right now. So we get into gear here. I talk about like what you should prioritize when you're gearing, and then I list, our best in slot weapons, shields, trinkets, and other items for protection warriors in Mythic Plus. Again, this is not a raid guide. This is mainly focused on AoE, PvE encounters, because I'm primarily a Mythic Plus player. So, and then I do provide explanations of why this is the best item, where it comes from, and kind of the reasoning behind why it's best. I also give suggestions on second best. Like, for example, I say that Ive Kazan is a good backup on equipped trinket. So, I'm giving you the best, but I'm also giving you some other choices. And then the last section, Mythic Plus additional tips. I included a few extra things here that I thought would be helpful to players, such as surviving the start of the pull and how to gather pulls properly. Two things that can be difficult as protection warriors. And then, at the end, I included a link to a spreadsheet by Sense, who is a well-known protection warrior. I'm not going to make this what he did. It's a lot of time, so I'll just let him be the king and be the owner of spell reflects and spell block usages in Mythic Plus. So if you're interested in everything that you can spell reflect, definitely see this spreadsheet linked at the bottom here. And then I linked my own Raider.io page where you can find my BattleNet, my YouTube channel, and stuff like that if you want to follow me or support me at all. So that's just a very, very brief overview of this 20-page guide that I spent 8 hours on. As Blizzard would say, I intend for this to be an evergreen feature of my content creation. I want to maintain and keep this document moving forward, to keep it updated for the current situation on live. And that's all I have for quickly going over this document. The link to this document will be in the description. It's a public Google Doc, so everyone should be able to have access to it if you click the link. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you think I should add to this document, if there's anything that you're concerned about, maybe you think it's incorrect. I'm definitely willing to look it back over. And last but not least, I'm going to include a 1-minute clip of me testing the opener and rotation of Protection Warrior on target dummies and Dornagal, so you can kind of see what it looks like and where your damage should be at for like a 1-minute 5-target encounter. So that's it. Thanks so much, guys, and have fun in Season 2.